You are tuned in
The Snapback Journey Radio.
Snapback Journey Radio.
Snapback Journey Radio.
presented by Yo Checka TV.
With healthy conversations.
Hosted by Checker C.
Hey, Yo Checka!
And
Oh man,
fun stuff like preparing financially in a pandemic.
just one of the biggest tips we do have is you start small. You know, don't try to put away like half your salary yearly. You're not going to stick to it. So you start small. And what we find is then when we're in reviews with these clients, you know, they tend to be ready. They're like, yeah, that feels like I'm used to that. Like, what else can I do? And there just becomes this motivation of wanting to do more and more. And that to me is really the coolest thing. You know, what works for me doesn't necessarily work for everyone. So I do want to preface that, but simply to be personal and honest, I tend to be a little bit more conservative with my money, which works in our marriage. You know, my partner happens to be a little bit more of a risk taker. So it's like a nice balance for us.
Right.
I do feel if you do have finances in the family, it's something that really should be, unless you keep everything separate, which is fine. And some couples do that.
Okay.
But if you mix them, you know, you really should have that conversation. Where does your partner stand? You know, how do they feel about it? How do you feel about it? How do you make that work together so that you're not battling it out at some point when things don't line out? In my own like retirement plans, I held on to them because I look at them as they're a long-term track for me. I'm in the middle of my 30s. So even if they take a loss, like which they definitely did in March and April, I didn't pull out, so I didn't hold that loss. Everything had time to build back up. So, and then, you know, I have a perspective, like when the market is not doing so well, I'm like, ooh, it's like a buying day. Like, let me go shopping.
Everything is on sale.
Yeah, let me go shopping. Like, let's see what I can get. So acknowledging that women are up against some different obstacles than men are up against. So unfortunately, you know, it's a known thing that we tend to make less on the dollar than a man does in the same job.
Right.
So that's number one. Number two, we may, overall, women do end up taking more time off for whether it's family leave or whether even if they have a sick older family member, child, or like a parent. Statistically, the women are the ones who will take off work for that. So again, that's another time that they're removed from the workforce. So with all of that being said, it's not just less income. Now it's less of your money being paid into, like, you're owed less Social Security at the end of the day. Your retirement funds that you put in for your employer are going to be less because your income's less. Mm-hmm. Then to make it even better for us, then women statistically live longer than men. And a lot of times, even if you're in, you know, a marriage, partnership, many times women are the ones remaining at the end of the day to be then in charge of the whole household finances. So there are extra considerations, you know.
It's like, are now we doubling up what we save? You know, are we working harder, or are we like, what does that look like? You know, or
I think it's a matter of not ignoring that we have to save and invest. We have to, and as soon as possible, again, even if it's on a smaller scale, because there's other obligations that we may have in our daily life,
right?
It has to be done. It's not something that you can put off